Welcome to WW Clyde & Company. My name is Dustin Olson. I'm the president of WW Clyde, and we're excited to have you on our team. Some of the things that have made us successful in the past 90 years are our core values. We value people, our word is our bond, always give a full measure, and quality products and services at the best value. As being an employee of WW Clyde, we want you to adhere to these values. In the history of the company, we feel that these core values set us apart from our competition and make us successful in everything that we do. Our first core value is we value people. This means that we want you to be safe. We want you to return home safely to your family each night after a hard day's work. We're excited for the opportunity that we have to show you in these next few segments some of the ways that we've committed as a company to be safe on the projects.
Hello, I'm Bruce Dowland, Director of Safety. This video and others that we have created for you are to help raise awareness to some of the potential hazards that you may encounter while at work. When you arrive at your work area, your supervisor will help you understand additional hazards that you may be exposed to, so please pay attention to the additional training that you will receive. If you have any other questions, ask your supervisor and they will assist you. Remember that you are the person that has the best chance to keep yourself from being injured. If you are ever injured or involved in an accident, it must be promptly reported to your immediate supervisor. If medical care is necessary, they will make arrangements to take you to the designated healthcare provider, or if EMS responds, they will take you to the appropriate medical facility. You will likely be required to wear personal protective equipment, such as a hard hat, safety glasses, high-vis clothing, work boots, and gloves. I understand wearing PPE may not be convenient, but it's important to wear the proper clothing for your job. A seatbelt is a good example of safety equipment that has been proven to protect you. For construction workers, falls are the #1 cause of fatalities, so remember to always properly maintain guardrails and personal fall protection equipment. Always wear your safety equipment, keep it in good condition, and inspect it each time you put it on. While at work, we are all part of a team, and to succeed, team members need to work together. Please report any unsafe conditions or potential hazards to your supervisor so that we can prevent incidents. Our vision is that we all go home safe at the end of every day. If we work together and do our part, we can make that happen. So please be safe out there.
Proper clothing and PPE. All employees are expected to meet the appropriate dress standards for their work environment. Employees in the field must wear long pants, shirts with sleeves, and sturdy work shoes. It is unacceptable to wear shorts, sandals, flip-flops, loose clothing, and/or jewelry. All of our job sites require that you wear personal protective equipment, or PPE, including a hard hat, safety vest, safety glasses, and gloves. Certain tasks require that employees wear additional PPE. Examples may include a face shield for grinding, a welding hood for welding and cutting, metatarsal guards for working near impact or compression hazards, ear protection for work that produces high noise levels, a respirator for work near hazardous chemicals or other airborne contaminants. Personal protective equipment is provided to employees by the company. As you take care of your PPE, it will take care of you. Lockout Tagout. There are many sources of energy in the workplace. Some examples include electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, and pneumatic. Occasionally, workers have to access equipment or machinery for the purpose of maintenance. Before doing so, you must disable all potential power sources or energy to the point of operation. The approved method for disabling and controlling hazardous energy is Lockout Tagout. Locking out an energy source means that you put a physical lock on the switch or control to prevent someone from accidentally energizing the equipment. Only the employee performing the maintenance has a key to that lock. In addition to the physically disabling the energy, the employee also places a tag on the lock identifying his or her name and the date they locked out the equipment. Lockout Tagout is key to keeping employees safe on the job. Failure to follow this policy may result in termination of employment. Proper chemical use is an important aspect of safe work practices. Always use proper personal protection equipment and keep work areas clean and orderly to avoid spilling or mixing chemicals. In case of a spill, use an absorbent to soak up the liquid and dispose of it safely. In case of an emergency spill, implement the emergency action plan posted in your work area. Evacuate other workers and isolate the spill or hazard if safe to do so. Call 911 for emergency response assistance. Every chemical on site must be clearly labeled using the globally harmonized labeling system. This includes any secondary container such as a spray bottle or small container that may be used. Some chemical and flammable materials have limits on the amount that can be safely stored on site. A chemical spill in the eyes or face should be immediately flushed. You should then wash off any chemicals that come in contact with your skin. Information on chemical hazards and safe handling procedures are located on the Safety Data Sheet, or SDS. The SDS also provides information about first aid procedures, emergency handling, and fire and explosion risks. If you have questions about handling, using, mixing, or preparing chemicals in your workplace, contact your supervisor. Occasionally, employees have to work from heights and are exposed to a fall hazard. Anytime a worker is exposed to a fall hazard, they must be protected from a fall. Workers can be protected from falls in one of the following ways. Wear a harness and tie off to a personal fall arrest system. Ensure that exposed edges are protected with guardrails and/or handrails. Fall protection harnesses must be kept in good condition. The material cannot be fraying or damaged in any way. The harness must be the appropriate size for the person wearing it. Once a harness has been used in an actual fall, it must then be taken out of service and replaced. Trench and excavation safety. An excavation is any man-made cut, cavity, trench, or depression in an earth surface. Excavations can be extremely dangerous if the proper protective systems aren't put into place. The following safety regulations will help ensure that workers are safe while working near or in excavations. A competent person must oversee the safety of an excavation or trench. Prior to work starting, a daily inspection must be performed by the competent person, certifying that conditions are safe. Excavations that reach 4 feet or deeper must have an approved means of entry and exit, either a ladder or a ramp. They must also be tested for adequate air quality using a gas detector. Excavations that reach 5 feet or deeper must have an approved means of sidewall protection. Generally, the soils we work with are typed C soils. However, it's the responsibility of the competent person to classify soil based on the results of at least one visual and at least one manual analysis. This means that the sidewalls must either be sloped at a slope of 1.5 to 1, or they must be protected by means of shoring or shielding. Ladders must extend at least 3 feet above the top of the excavation box. All of these guidelines exist to protect you. Confined space safety. A confined space is any space that has a limited means of entry and exit, is large enough for bodily entry, and is not designed for continuous occupancy. Examples of a confined space may include tanks, silos, manholes, bins, or pipes. Prior to entering a confined space, employees are expected to complete a confined space entry checklist. This checklist ensures that employees properly determined whether or not the space is safe to enter, and whether or not they need to fill out a confined space entry permit. Employees should never enter a confined space without following the approved procedures. Atmospheric testing is absolutely mandatory for all entry to confined spaces, regardless of the space being old or new, live or active, or any other possible characteristic. You will occasionally hear about OSHA, MSHA, and DOT. These governmental agencies exist to ensure that you and others are protected. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They have jurisdiction for most private sector employers. MSHA stands for Mine Safety and Health Administration. As you can guess, MSHA covers any and all mining operations. DOT, or DOT, stands for the Department of Transportation. The DOT covers highway, air, and railroad transportation functions. Our company is committed to complying with and following the laws of the land.
I'm Brian Douglas with Clyde. I'm going to do a truck inspection before I hit the road. Okay, over here, checking the oil. The water's over there. I'll check it in a minute. Right here, there's brakes, brake pots and hoses you got to look at. Right here, there's the tire. You check the depth of the tread. Check the lug nuts, make sure they're tight. Windows, mirrors. You're looking for any leaks back in here. There's airbags. your glad hands, you got to make sure they're on good and your lights are plugged in. I turn my lights on and make sure all of them are working properly. There's another set of coupling device right here. This has got to make sure them bolts are in and it's done up properly. I'm looking for oil leaks or whatever. Everything looks good. I've got windshield wiper fluid, it's full. Check my antifreeze right here. These binders and chains are rated for so many pounds, but chaining this way, I only get half of what they're rated for. I've just got this strap on to hold this flap from flapping out everywhere. As you can see, I've got flags. Everything looks good, everything's tight. I'm ready to go down the road, I think. My gauges are coming to life now. Another thing you can check is your horn. It works.
Before operating any mobile equipment such as track hose, front-end loaders, backhoes, skid steer loaders, or personnel lifts, you should be trained in their safe operation. Always keep windows, mirrors, and cabs clean. Broken glass should be replaced as soon as possible. When parking, lower all attachments or implements to the ground and properly secure the equipment against movement by setting the park brake or chalking the wheels. Each piece of equipment should be inspected prior to operating. Fluid levels, tires, tracks, glass, mirrors, controls, grease points, and other items must be checked to ensure safe and efficient use. Always walk around the equipment and look for leaks or other problems. This is also a great time to look at the area surrounding the equipment for obstacles and equipment that should be moved prior to operation. Equipment operators and ground workers are equally responsible to assure safety around equipment. Cell phone use is not permitted while a machine is in operation. If you must make an emergency call, park and secure the equipment with all attachments on the ground outside of the active work area. Proper lifting and handling of materials. You will occasionally be required to lift heavy materials, tools, or equipment. Remember, exercise caution. Many employees have been hurt because they failed to lift properly. Back injuries can be extremely painful and can cause you to miss work. The following guidelines will help you to lift safely. Don't attempt to lift heavy or awkward items alone. Size up the load and make sure your path is clear. Have your feet shoulder width apart, bend your knees, and keep your back straight. Get a firm grip on the load and stand straight up. Let your legs do the lifting, not your weaker back muscles. Keep the load close to your body and low enough to maintain good visibility. Pivot with your feet. Don't twist your back. Housekeeping. One of the leading causes of slips, trips, and falls in the workplace is improper housekeeping. It is important to keep our workplace clean and free of debris. If you see some trash on the floor, pick it up. If you see a spill on the ground, stop and clean it up. If you see a tripping hazard, stop and remove it. Your action could prevent someone from being injured. Safety requires everyone to do their part. OSHA and MSHA require that moving machine parts are guarded so as to protect against accidental contact. If an employee was ever caught in a pinch point, the consequences would be severe and possibly even fatal. Tail pulleys, drive belts, rotating shafts, and saw blades are examples of moving machine parts that must be guarded if they are within an employee's reach. Tools. Always use the right tool for the job. If a tool is broken in any way, then remove it from service until it is repaired or replaced. Make sure that extension cords are in good condition. They shouldn't be frayed and no wires should be exposed. If a tool or machine comes with a guard, then the guard should always be in place. Employees are never permitted to remove a guard or tamper with the manufacturer's design. Compressed gas storage. On our job sites, you will see compressed gas tanks. These tanks must always be stored and secured in an upright position. It is never permissible to transport these tanks laying down in the back of a truck. If the valve were to break, the tank could become a missile-like projectile, attaining speeds of over 30 miles per hour in a fraction of a second. An incident like this could be extremely dangerous. When a compressed gas tank is not in use, the cap should be securely attached. Fuel gases such as propane must be stored at least 20 feet away from oxygen cylinders, or they must be separated by a barrier of at least 5 feet high, having a fire rating of at least 1/2 hour. Safety signs are placed throughout the job site to warn you of potential hazards. Occasionally, you will see barricade tape around the perimeter of a particular operation. Pay attention to the color and the marking of this tape. Red danger tape means no unauthorized entry, and yellow caution tape means cautious entry is permitted after recognizing the hazard.
We hope you enjoyed the video, and we hope you also learned a few things in that video. We're excited to have you on our team, and we're excited to see you become part of the history that WW Clyde is. We're excited for all of the opportunities that we see in your future and look forward to working with you. Please remember that we value people. This means we not only value you, but all of the people working with you. And the things that you learned in this video will allow you to look out for yourself and also all of your coworkers and ensuring their safety on a daily basis. Thank you.